Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for another review. Today we're going to take a look at Daitetsujin 17 GX101 by Soul of Chogokin, released in late 2022. We're going to take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. You may be wondering why I'm not showing you the front of this box originally, and there's a little story behind this. I just want to share that with you. I bought this package from Amazon. I pre-ordered this robot. I was so excited to get it. And I received notification that Amazon was shipping it, and I was keeping an eye on it and keeping an eye on when it would be delivered to my mailbox, because surely this would not fit in my mailbox. I just have a standard size mailbox. I received email notification that my robot was delivered in my mailbox, and I thought, well, that's just weird. So then I went out to the mailbox and checked it, and lo and behold, Amazon did not put my robot into another box to ship it. They shipped it like this, with my address label smack dab on the front of the robot box, and this is how they shipped it. Thanks a lot, Amazon. What the hell? It's fine. It's fine. Deep breath. It's fine. Okay, let's unbox this puppy. First of all, this is a lot smaller than I thought it would be. When the pamphlet that comes along with the Chogokin is bigger than the box that it comes in, you know this is small. So that's on me. I guess I didn't read the sizes when I bought this, but I was surprised at how very small this is. But let's take a look at the pamphlet, instruction manual, and everything that comes with it. This is all in all a pretty decent pamphlet. I mean, it's nothing really special about it, although there is something a little bit weird about it that we'll go into in just a second. But for the most part, it's okay. You know, it's all in color. It's primarily in English on the front and back. The inside is all in Japanese, except for one little bit, which we'll get into in a minute. And it has, you know, all kinds of instructions, and it shows the transformations and has little drawings. This is the part that's weird, and it feels like this is two pieces of paper, and it's because there's this sticker here, right here, that they've pasted over the original text, and it's a disclaimer, which is interesting. And it's in English and stuff. It's, I don't even know. I didn't honestly bother reading it, but whatever. I just find it interesting that it's in there. And then it shows the different transformations that it does. Everything is nice and clear in the pictures. Pretty easy to figure out. This is not a complex Chogokin by any stretch of the imagination. All right, let's take a quick look at the robot itself. It's packaged well. You know, there's nothing particularly super fascinating about the packaging. It's just your standard plastic that it lives in. Take off the top, and let's go through these pieces here very quickly. Well, quickly-ish. This here is, it's got a little speaker. It's got a little battery that already is attached inside with a little plastic thing that stops it from charging or turning on or whatever. And then he comes with one extra set of open hands. Excuse me. So he has an open hand set and a closed hand set. And there really isn't any real need for multiple hands with this, because it's not like he has any weapons or anything like that. You know, this is kind of essentially, he's a transport ship for the most part for these things. So you've got two flying machines and two road machines, I guess. Earth machines, air machines, I guess. So this chopper bit, I mean, it's well painted, but the top rotator bit does not move. It is stuck where it is. Don't try and move it. You're going to break it. All of these little pieces are very well painted. There's nothing special about any of them. They don't move. There's nothing super interesting about them, but at least they are well painted. They're all made of plastic. There's no metal on these. They're just good little machines. So we'll take a quick look at these. I really wish these rotators, these treads on this thing rotated. I think that would be really cool. Unfortunately, they do not. Or at least if the drill bit rotated, that would be awesome. I mean, that seems like that wouldn't be hard to do, but yeah, nothing on that moves. It would also be really nice if the wheels on this moved, but alas, it does not. But again, well painted. It looks good. There's nothing particularly weird or anything about this. All right, so let's get to the main machine here. He is primarily made of metal on the inside. Obviously, his head moves a little bit. I don't know what the deal is with mine. It seems like he's standing a little bit crooked. I think it's something about the way he was sitting in the box or something. But you can see he's like, hey. I do need to mention I've never actually watched this show, so I don't know anything about this. But the Chogokin itself does have some pretty movable parts, which is great. And he's nice and clicky, which I love. I love a good clicky robot. And he clicks going all the way around. Elbows are freakishly bendable. This is just on a ball joint. His hands are just on a ball joint. This thing that swivels, this is probably just a ball joint too. It's plastic. These pieces here at the end of his arms, these are all plastic. His arms inside are metal. His silver shoulder pads, I guess, those are all plastic. His main body is metal. His legs are metal. His you know, shoes, whatever, that's all metal. So there is a really good chunk of metal in him. His head seems like it's all plastic. It does move a little bit. It feels like it's on a ball joint. His legs can do the splits. If you move up this little tab right here. And this little tab also feels like it's metal. So you do have to be a little bit careful that how you bend him and so on, because you don't want to break any of the plastic bits on his metal parts. Again, more nice clicky bits. This is all fully rotatable. So he has some really good posability. He's like a really good combination of the old, very boxy type of Chogokin and the newer, more posable ones without being too posable. To me, like some of the new ones, they get a little bit too fancy schmancy and they lose some of the geeky charm of the old ones that are super boxy. This bit here on the back is all plastic. There is kind of a nice little click bit to these little pieces here on the back, which is nice. Again, more of the rotator head. I'm getting a really good image of my shirt. That's awesome. Sorry, guys. So one of the things I don't like about him is that he's got these ball-jointed hands, which we're going to take a look at right here. You just pop on the ones and pop on the new ones. I have a real issue with these kinds of hands because eventually this plastic gets very brittle over the years, and it's very easy to break over time. So I don't love these kinds of hands. I'm going to keep these closed-fisted ones on there, and that's pretty much all I'm going to use for him because I hate changing these kinds of hands. But him, as this robot, has some moving parts. So this front part of him opens, which is cool. And these they're together, these two slidey bits. So you kind of have to slide them both open at the same time. I have no nails to speak of, so it is hard for me to do transformations. Also, in case you haven't noticed, my one fingernail is kind of blue. I got bored and colored my fingernail with a Sharpie, so just sort of ignore that bit. Anyway, the front part of his legs here, they also open, but you really need to have nails or something for this, because my God, it's a bugger for me. I had the worst time getting these things open. There might be a trick to it. If there is, I don't know it. Maybe if I push on the outside, I don't know, that didn't really seem to work either. Either way, you just kind of have to jam your nail in there and open these. Luckily, these are plastic, so it's not like you're going to chip any paint off of them. Both sides of these front part of his legs look the same, so it looks like a bunch of robot parts. Some really neat, I don't know, what are they called? Circuit boards, kind of, ish. Again, I've not seen the show, so I feel like my knowledge here is very lacking on this. But it looks good, you know? It's very cleanly painted, nice and crisp details, lots of small little details. The bottom parts of his legs, his feet also open. These are also plastic. This is also kind of hard to do. Okay, I obviously haven't figured out how to do it at this point. The way you want to do this is you see these little I'm going to struggle here like like a complete moron. There we go. Just jam your fingernail into that open bit and open these doors, and it works great. Ta-da! And my camera, of course, isn't... There we go. That's better. Now you get a better view of these. So these are where the Earth ships, the ones with tires, that's where these go. They go inside of his feet, which is pretty cool. There we go. Come on, in you go. And then these just snap closed, and they have no problem storing these. There isn't a problem with space or anything, because sometimes some of these robots, they're sort of meant to have things go in them, but they don't actually really fit very well. The Gatchaman ship is notorious for that. But these actually fit in this ship really, really well. So I really enjoy that part. However, I'm going to take them out because with my luck, I would chip something or break something when I'm trying to do a transformation, and I don't want to do that. He's not like the most expensive guy around, but still, I'm not rich enough to spare a couple $100. So, because none of these things are donated to me or anything like that. I pay for all of my toys all on my own. So, all right, let's take a look at something else here. Get my camera ready again. So we're going to take a quick peek at that sound thing that we looked at earlier. We're going to take out the plastic here, make sure it's turned on. And so it's got a light. It has different sounds. And we're going to go into that a little bit further in just a second. But first I'm going to show you how to put this in here. So you open up his chest, and this just pulls up. It's super easy. It just pulls right up. Take this and slip it in here so that the light is at the top, and then close him back up. Alrighty, give me just a couple seconds to get the room dark and get him centered, and then I will shut up and we can listen to the different sounds that he makes. Pretty neat, right? I like how they did a lot with just one little machine bit. It makes all kinds of noises, all kinds of sounds, depending on if you're hitting it left, right, or both at the same time. Pretty cool. So put my plastic bit back in because I always do that. So we're going to do the transformation now. You just need to fold these side bits in. You always have to make sure you do the one on his right side, your left side. Have to fold that in first. And then you can start putting in his arms. So the reason these hands flip up the way they do is so that they could fit inside his chest. You don't have to actually remove his hands. They just flip up and then go in here. But you do have to fold in the one side before the other side, or else those don't lay flat enough for these to fit inside of his chest cavity. There we go. And that closes just fine. So I also need to preface this by saying you're going to watch me totally figure out how to do this, because I am not a genius and it takes me a hot minute sometimes to figure stuff out. Anyway, you can clamp his feet together by putting out these little pegs. These pegs are plastic, and again, it's one of those things that I just have a problem with putting plastic things that attach like this. I have some other Chogokin, older ones from the 70s, and these have all broken. So I really hate this kind of thing. I wish they had just on magnets or something. So I'm not actually going to attach them because I don't want them to break. But let's just say for giggles that I did. All right, now we're going to figure out how to do his transformation. And he needs to sort of bend all the way, his legs bend all the way forward, and then that little right here, that folds in. What I haven't figured out yet at this point in the video is that you actually have to move his feet out of the way before you put his leg in, or it doesn't fit. So, yeah. We're going to watch me struggle with this for a few minutes. And I am obviously not a pro YouTuber, or I would have just re-recorded all of this. See, this is what you have to do. You have to fold his foot out of the way first, push that down, and then his leg will fit in there just beautifully as long as it's aligned correctly. But I'm very careful to not hit these things on his back. There we go. So there's one side. Those things there. And you'll notice the main thing on his back in the center of the back has fallen off. It fell off on me multiple times when I was trying to do this. It's just got a little tab in there. It falls off. You could just pop it right back on. Totally easy. But you do need to make sure these are lined correctly for that to go in. There we go. And then we move those to the front. So I'm not like the dumbest person in the world, but like for some reason I was just like, why is this doing this? Why isn't this working? And yeah, I don't know what my problem is with this guy. Not enough sleep? Eternally stupid? I don't know what my problem is. Anyway, I did eventually get him figured out. There we go. That's how he needs to be. And then realign this. And I'm obviously not a pro YouTuber, or I would have just re-recorded all of this, so you wouldn't have to watch me struggle, but I'm obviously not. So I just do this stuff so that if you're thinking about getting him, you can see what he's like. There we go. This thing just pops right back on. And so, because I watch YouTube videos all the time when I'm thinking about trying whether or not I should get a robot. So getting an honest review and seeing what it can do and seeing what it's made of and the size and the stats mean a lot to me, so I figured it might mean a lot to you too, hopefully. Alrighty. And then we just flip these out, flip this down, and then this is where the planes go. And there are little tabs you see on the silver runway strips, kind of. A little bit stubborn for me here. There we go. There's one, and then here's the other one. You just put it on these pegs and push it down. There we go. And once these are on here, they're on here pretty well. They're not going anywhere. This is such a weird thing to me. Like this whole pose thing that he's doing. It's just odd. It might make more sense to me if I actually saw the show, but I don't know. It's like he's bending out down and being like, "Oh, I'm crampy" or something. It's weird. I don't regret getting him. I would have preferred if he was larger. Um, but he's not a robot that I would spend like $400 or $500 on. There's no way. But again, as someone who hasn't seen the show. But all in all, he's pretty good. He has a decent weight to him. Like it's a fairly easy transformation, once you've figured out how to do it. Yeah, so it's okay. He's fine. It's fine. He's fine. I was very amused by how very stuck on these robot flying bits are. The planes. There we go. Easy enough. That just flips down. There we go. Nice and flat and out of the way. So once you know what you're doing, it's a pretty easy transformation, which is good. I know that there are a lot of, like, some of them across Chogokin, like, their transformations take a hot minute. And I have to look at the book, honestly, when I'm trying to do those. But I like ones that I don't have to look at a book for, that I can just play with it and figure it out on my own. I like that kind of robot. And that's totally what this guy is. Look, it's a rocket. He's dancing. He's pretty posable. I just really wish he was bigger. I wish he was bigger, and I wish that the little bitty ships, that they all kind of had more moving parts. That would be really lovely. And there's again this thing that fell off again. Just pop that back on. I guess I'm glad that it pops off, because probably otherwise I'd break it. There we go. Pull the center part. His belt looks like it should come off, but it totally doesn't. There we go. Take out his side bits. Ta-da! Easy peasy. Let's get him all put back together in his normal way. Alrighty, now let's just adjust the camera a little bit so we can see him totally, and then we'll get a height on him. Let's take a look at some stats. Okay, so in terms of height, I mentioned a couple of times how I think he's a little bit on the small side. His height is coming in at, let's see, just under 7 inches. Even if yours stands straight, even though mine is a little crooked. So just under 7 inches tall. And his weight, let's see. Oops, I guess I should have moved that a little bit in scale. Anyway, 14.8 ounces. So a bit under a pound. So he does have some decent metal, which is good. Final thoughts on him. So I'm a little bit torn. On the one hand, I really, really like how kind of clunky, chunky he is, how that harkens back to the old time Chogokin, which I love so much. I really like all the things that open and the things that he does with the lights and the sounds and everything and the transformation that he makes. And he's got all the little pieces additionally with him. So with all of that together, he's probably worth the just under $200 I paid for him. I would not pay more than that for this guy. He's too small. I really hate the plastic ball joints and the plastic bits that attach between his feet. I realize that that's the thing now and that like everybody is doing it, but it still really bothers me because I know how breakable this stuff is. If you have any Chogokin from back in the 70s or the 60s or anything, you also know how very breakable this stuff gets. And so I really wish they had used something like a heavy duty magnet or something instead. There's no reason for him to have ball joints, especially on the hands that are changeable. They could have just as easily gone with magnets, especially between, again, the hands and the feet. But so I'm a little bit torn. To me, it's a matter of, do you really like the anime? Then absolutely 200 is probably worth it. If you're a stranger to the show like I am, and you're just looking at him on his own merits, I would say like definitely don't spend more than 200, unless you have all kinds of money. Then do whatever you want, man. More power to you. But yeah, I'm a little bit torn, honestly, on him. I don't know that I'm going to keep him, but probably. I'll probably keep him. So anyway, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I super appreciate it. I love it when you guys talk to me and we can talk about robots and everything because we are an awesome community and I love the support that we have for each other and our appreciation for each other's videos and stuff. So shout out to all of you guys that have been doing this a lot longer than I have. I am building on your wonderful legacy. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So have a good one, guys, and I will catch you all next time. Bye.